Good morning. It's Tuesday, January 28th, and I want to tell you this because yesterday's rant was finished before I could tell you. So the Super Bowl has been decided, and the Kansas City Chiefs will try to win a third Super Bowl in a row, and they will face the Philadelphia Eagles, who they managed to beat 2 Super Bowls ago in the last 8 seconds of the game. So this should be a very exciting rematch, and it's going to take place in 2 weeks. I think the date is February 14th or something. It's a Sunday. So get yourself ready if you're a football fan for that. It ought to be an exciting afternoon. And now I want to discuss a very important issue that takes place in the United States periodically. Every 2 years or so, Congress gets together and creates a budget for the United States. So this year they're gathering in Miami area around Donald Trump's domain down there. And they're not going there for the weather. They have major decisions to make over the coming days to determine whether Trump and the Republicans can deliver on their sweeping legislative agenda before the 2026 midterms. And they're already running behind schedule. And the biggest task that they are faced with is finalizing a budget blueprint for the massive party line bill they are planning, which is going to touch energy, border security, tax policy, and who knows what else. And the Republicans need to decide what will go into that package. And the price tag of Trump's priorities is reaching about $10 trillion over 10 years. And that might require separate bipartisan government funding bills that have to be negotiated with the Democrats over the next 7 weeks. And that's not going to be an easy task. So the Republicans are privately debating a bunch of different options, but they're getting very impatient because they need to have something to step forward with. And they're looking at all the options, and I don't even know what that really means, all the options. The Republicans know that in adopting these options, they must come up with an identical blueprint for the House and the Senate, because in the process of unlocking the budget reconciliation, the Republicans must avoid a filibuster by the Democrats. So they have to be very careful about how they present whatever they come up with. Now, there's nothing in these articles that specifically defines all the areas that are included in this budget, but we know many different pieces of it. There's defense. Defense spending is enormous in this country. And then we need much money for fixing many things that are going on in this country that are not going on correctly. That's bridges and tunnels and roads and things like that that have to be taken care of. And then there's money that needs to be set aside for emergencies. like when Mother Nature strikes and leaves them in difficult situations. There are many Republicans who are skeptical that they can come together with a plan that will be acceptable, quickly acceptable. And some Republicans wanted to skip the meetings, but then they decided they better show up because every voice is needed to come up with a proper presentation to the Democrats in Congress and in the Senate. I'm sure many of you know that the actions that our government takes are governed by committees within the organization. And there are committee chairmen who are responsible for the activities of their particular committee. And so today, the committee chair people are going to step forward and give the rest of the Republicans their ideas on what needs to be in these budget proposals, what needs to be in these reconciliation pacts. And they need to be able to answer many, many questions in these breakout sessions that they intend to have. So there's a lot of preparatory work that nobody understands except those directly involved in this process. And I can just imagine how complicated it is to put together a budget for a nation like ours with 350 million people and 50 different states and so many different ideas on what is the correct thing to do. So this budgeting process, in my mind, is extremely difficult to come to any reasonably fast conclusion. And it seems to me that you must always be working on it, that you can't wait until it's a twilight zone to come up with the right answer. So this is a conundrum that we have to face every 2 years. We shouldn't be doing it that way. It should be a steady, ongoing process, building for the next budget even as soon as you get this one finished. You have to start building and putting things in place for the next one. At least that's the way I think it should work. And I have to tell you a very interesting thing about something that is called SNAP. SNAP is the Nutritional Assistance Program. It provides food and assistance to low-income individuals and families. And in order to be eligible for SNAP, you have to meet work requirements. Now, I never knew that. I never knew that there was such a thing as work requirements in order to get help. So if you get help through this program, this SNAP program, which is mandatory, you have children that are over 7 years old, you can't be on the dole. You have to have a job. You have to work 30 hours a week in order to collect any benefits. So I am glad to hear that a thing like SNAP is in place. And we probably need something like SNAP in many other places. So I leave you with that this morning. A conundrum that needs to be dealt with constantly. It's not an every 2-year deal in my mind. It should constantly be on the calendar. So have a great day. Take care. Bye.